Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, Scotty and I are here to unbox yet another one of the beautiful Commander decks for the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth expansion. And yes, we are again joined once more with Glamdring. And thank you very much, Scotty. Yeah, and we're diving deep into the Precon. We've already done a few of them. And in case you're new to the series, what we do is we analyze the Precon deck. We look at the synergies inside, how the cards play well together, the reprints, and all the goodies inside that make the deck viable for play. So how good it is to play the deck proper as a Precon straight out of the box. And we give you a score, an idea of how good it is, basically. We analyze every card. And after that, we will try on a different separate video to give you an idea of how to upgrade the current commanders to a much better, much more fun standard. And today we are analyzing the Food and Fellowship deck, which has Frodo, Adventurous, Hobbit, and actually even Sam, Loyal Attendant, as commanders. This is the only actual deck that has the two Hobbits partners together, which means you can either partner with and have them both in the command zone, or one can be in the command zone and whenever you play it, the other one can be sought into the deck and put into your hand. So without further ado, let's have a look at the contents of the box. First off, you get 20 new cards inside of a 100 card deck. All the cards in the 100 card deck, including the reprints, have all a new art and style to match some Lord of the Rings story and flavor. And then you get a foil-etched thick commander, giggity, and 11 double-sided token cards, a deck box, a life wheel, strategy insert, a reference card, and you also get a collector booster sample pack, plus 2 legendary traditional foils, which realistically I think are the foils that are the commander and the general of the deck. Okay, so that's that. So with that out of the way, this deck is white, black, and green. So that's an interesting combination. And yeah, we will have a look at Food and Fellowship. Let's go. As usual, these decks are printed in Belgium for us here in the UK. So the quality should be better, but it's not necessarily a thing, because we've also seen cards being damaged straight up from the get-go. As unfortunately the Magic the Gathering, well, WotC standard has never really improved. I mean, it wasn't great at the beginning, but they had a little bit of a leeway back in the 90s, and since then it hasn't improved much. It's gotten worse, especially with the new foiling, but that's the story for another time. So you get the deck box first and foremost. And as usual, the deck box does not contain the deck if you've sleeved it. You will not be able to hold it all, but it's still a good way to keep some cards in here, and it's always cute. And yeah, it's useful just for storing some extra stuff. And then you get, we get the sample booster pack, the Lord of the Rings insert, which will explain a little bit about the deck. So I will show you like this. You can pause. A little bit about the commander rules. And then, sorry about that, we look at Frodo, Adventurous, Hobbit, and Sam the Loyal Attendant, and the choices of the colors and why they were given such colors. So that's really, really nice. If you want to pause, go ahead. That's really, really good. I like these inserts. They always add a little bit more flavor, and they're quite descriptive, and the art on it is quite beautiful. And then we get the spin down wheel counter with the life counter is held. We get the deck proper, the tokens, and the sample. Right? So let's start with the sample booster as usual. We will look into it. You tend to get a scene card and then a ring card, a ring showcase card. So Ring Showcase is Smeagol, Helpful Guide, not bad. And then Many Partings foil, very nice heart. Also, Smeagol is quite annoying in limited, so that's really good. Okay, and then let's have a look at the commanders proper. I think it's the commander. I don't think they've put both commanders into the display thickness, so It's gonna be just the one. Okay, so Frodo, Adventurous, Hobbit, is a legendary creature, halfling scout, that partners with Sam, loyal attendant. It's a 1/3 vigilance for 1 black and 1 white. So odds of, whenever it attacks, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, the ring tempts you. Then if Frodo is the ring bearer and the ring has tempted you 2 or more times this game, you draw a card. And do remember that when the ring tempts you, you also get to draw a card if it's on the second counter. So you can get to draw 2 cards and then discard a card. So that's really, really good. And yeah, that's really nice. On top of that, it's a 1/3 that cannot be blocked with creatures with greater power. So that's another thing. So anything that's huge will not be able to block it. And if you have some ways to keep it like this but still make it valuable, it's still going to be great. Again, you're using this, I would reckon, more for the drawing aspect and the ring tainting aspect, because in the end it turns out that by turn 4 you're going to be dealing 3 damage, or each opponent is going to lose 3 life whenever deals combat damage to a player. So that's really good. So overall, by the 4th counter on the emblem, you're going to be dealing 9 damage plus the 1. And that's really, really good. And then if a creature will try and block it, it has to be sacrificed at the end. And yeah, most creatures don't have a way to block this card and kill it at the same time. So that's really, really nice. Next up, let's have a look at the tokens. So we have Tree Folk, a bird that when this creature attacks, target creature gains flying, target attacking creature gets flying until the end of turn. So it's a 3/3 bird. That's really nice. Then you get soldiers with lifelink, treasure tokens, some halfling. Whoa, nice. With a scythe. Then we get some food tokens, some goats having fun with the halfling, and some food, because you can't have enough food. What about second breakfast? Aye. Okie dokie, so let's have a look now at the deck proper. And the contents of the deck, will start off with the general. Of course, we've already seen Frodo. So we'll start with the general first, and that's Sam, loyal attendant. This is a 2/4 legendary creature, halfling peasant, for 1 generic, 1 green, and 1 white. So realistically, you have 3 colors that are fairly good actually in combination. And it partners with Frodo, Adventurous, Hobbit. And as I said before, when this creature enters the battlefield, target player may put Frodo into their hand from the library, then shuffle. So since both have this ability, if you decide one of them to be your commander, the other one can just stay in the deck, and then you play this and you take this into your hand. Alternatively, you can just have them as commanders, the both of them. And of course, you'll be casting separate commander taxes. So whenever you cast one, this card is gonna have its own separate tax than this one. And then next, at the beginning of the combat turn, you create a token food. So that's really good. You have a constant token generation, and activated abilities of foods you control cost 1 less to activate. That's really good synergy. These two guys go really, really hand in hand. That's an amazing flavor as well. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's really, really good. It's just amazing. This is great flavor, honestly. Overall, wonderful. So this is going to be a food token. Let's see, what does the pan hold? Haha. Field tested frying pan is a 2 generic and 1 white artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you create a food token. They create a 1/1 white halfling creature token and attach this pan to it. The equipped creature has, whenever you gain life, this creature gets +X until the end of turn, where X is the amount of life gained, which with Sam's ability to cost 1 life less, you can get 6 life for the same amount of before if you have 2 food tokens, and that's really, really good to buff up. So that's really nice synergistic. The Guffer, there's a 2/3 halfling peasant for 2 generic and 1 white legendary creature. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, draw a card. Wow, that's really good. Frodo and this guy, really, really nice. I mean, for the sake of the whole video, so I won't say like these 2 commanders are going to synergize. When they synergize, I will bring it up. Yeah, this is really, really, really good. Oh, Guahir, the greatest of all of the eagles. So this is a bird noble 5/5 for 4 generic and 1 white, flying whenever it attacks. Attacking creature gains fly until the end of turn. And at the beginning of each end step, so each end step, not just yours, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, you create a 3/3 white bird creature token with flying that has the same ability as flying as we saw in the tokens. So that's really, really good, because if you save your life, your food tokens, and you've generated, like, I don't know, you have 5 of them, use 2 to buff up to get the gaffer and to buff up your creatures with a frying pan, and then you use the other ones in enemies' turns to get more tokens generation out of it. So this is really well synergistic. I love it. Verbs and Stewed Rabbit. Ooh, this is a saga, 2 generic and 1 white. And I must say, so far, this is the coolest flavor one. This is so fun, flavor-wise for me. Of course, this is, an opinion, but I love the flavor of this one. You put a +1, and also, punny. Yeah, I know, it's very punny. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, create a food token. Then you draw a card, you create a food token, and then you create a 1/1 white halfling creature token for each food you control. Very, very good enchantment. This is very, very good and really synergistic. Golem Obsessed Stalker, 1/1 halfling horror, 1 generic, 1 black. It has Skulk. This creature cannot be blocked by creatures with greater power. And at the beginning of your end step, each opponent that combat damage this game by a creature named Golem, him, loses life equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Wow. That's really, really nice. So every time you deal damage to a player with him, so you can put some Lightning Greaves or anything that gives it Shroud and Hexproof and makes it unblockable, you basically keep in mind whichever player dealt damage to. And then for the rest of the game, whenever you gain life on your by your end step, then those opponents lose life equal to that amount. That's insane. That's really good synergy. Oh my god, Lobelia, you are scary. Lobelia, Defender of the Bag End, has a 2/2 halfling citizen for 2 generic and 1 black. When it enters the battlefield, you look at the top card of each opponent in the library, exile those face down, tap to sacrifice an artifact, and choose 1. Until the end of turn, you may play a card exile with Lobelia without paying its mana cost. Wow. Each opponent loses 2 life and gain 2 life. What? Without paying a mana cost? That's insane. Yes, of course. I mean, granted, it's 1 ATB, right? But if you find a way to make her come back into play, this is gonna be a really, really freaking annoying thing, because you can just play, I don't know. Oh, you have a dragon that costs 9. Well, there you go. I'm just gonna tap and play it right now. Turn 3. That's really, really good. Well, not turn 3, turn 4, because it doesn't have haste. I like it. Really synergistic. Rapacious Guest, 2/2 halfling citizen, 2 generic and 1 black. Has menace, and whenever 1 or more creatures you control combat damage to a player, you create 4 token. That's food generation. That's amazing. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you put a +1/+1 counter on him. That's great, because you don't have to sacrifice a food to put this. It's just when you sacrifice it. So whenever you sacrifice it for the other effects, you can still put a +1/+1 counter on it. And whenever it leaves the battlefield, target opponent loses life equals to its power. Wow. So if they remove it, you can just punish them back up. Wow, that's really, really good. Ooh, Assemble the Antmoot. There's a 3 generic and 1 green enchantment. Creatures you control have reach. Sacrifice this card to create 3 tapped XX green 3/4 creature tokens, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn, and put a reach counter on each of them. Very nice enchantment. Feasting Hobbit, halfling citizen, 2/2 devourer of food. Has a 1 generic and 1 green. So Devour Food 3 means that as this enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a number of foods. This creature enters the battlefield with 3 times that many +1/+1 counters on it, and creatures with power less than him cannot block it. Wow. Again, I'm going to be saying this a lot. This is really synergistic. It's really, really good. Motivated Pony as a horse, 3/3 creature for 4 generic and 1 green. Trample haste. Wow. And whenever it attacks, attacking creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. And then if food entered the battlefield and you control this turn, on top those creatures, and they get an additional +2/+2 until the end of turn. So not only does it give attacking creatures +1/+1, but if you put a food in play, the part that I don't understand is you untap those creatures and they get an additional +2/+2 at the end of turn. So basically you tap them to give them a +2/+2 as a defender, but it's until the end of turn. So, and it's not got flash, so it's a bit unusual. The first part I understand, right? You attack with it, and with any other creatures. So let's say you're attacking with the Feasting Hobbits or Rapacious, and they all get +1/+1, yeah? And this is because he's attacked as well. So all three get +1/+1 until the end of turn. And then I played a food token at the beginning of my main phase before combat. And you untap those creatures after. Oh no, you untap them at the combat step. Okay, I think this is how it works, because otherwise it would make no sense. So you attack, and then you untap them, and then he gives +2/+2, and that's it. So basically, you basically give him vigilance. That's it, and they get buffed to +2/+2, meaning that if they were to be blocked on that turn, they would deal +3/+3 damage. Okay, cool. I think I've understood it that way. I don't know if I'm wrong. Just correct me in the comments. Price Peg is a 0/3 board that we've seen before. It's 1 green and 1 generic creature. Whenever you gain life, put that many ribbon counters on Price Peg. Then if there are 3 or more ribbon counters on Price Peg, remove those counters and tap it. You tap to add 1 mana of any color. This is one of the lesser kind of meh cards. I don't really like it. There are better ways to add 1 mana of any color in this color combination. So far, up until here, I was really, wow, this is amazing. So this is the first one that I'm like, yeah, not really. Okay, so Banky Guess. 0/0 Halfling Citizen for X generic, 1 green, 1 white. Affinity for food. So I guess 1 less for cast for each food you control. Amazing. Trampler. And then it enters the battlefield with twice X +1/+1 counters on it. Wow, twice. And then you tap 2 generics to sacrifice a food, and it gains indestructible till the end of turn. Wow, very, very good. And again, these cards cost very little. Bilbo Birthday Celebrant. Look at the size of that cake. I mean, I know halflings are shorter, but honestly, that is a huge cake, even by my standard. 2/3 Halfling Rogue. It is 1 white, 1 black, and 1 green. And if you gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. Okay, it's a life gaining deck in a way, but not that much. And then for 2 generic, 1 white, 1 black, 1 green, you tap him, exile him, and then you search your library for a number of creature cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate only if you have 111 or more life. Yeah, so this is a very flavorful creature. I really like it because it says 111th birthday, but what I would say is it doesn't really make sense because this is more of a life gaining deck kind of creature, more so than in food deck, because this is what it is. This is definitely, so far, has been a food center deck. And now food does allow you to get more life, but realistically you're going to be using the food tokens to do more than just gaining life. So yeah, this might be good in a life gaining deck, and if you can get it at 111th, you just go broke. Otherwise, it's a flavorful card, and I love it. Farmer Cotton. Oh, okay, there he is. And finally we get to see him. Poor guy has been having his vegetables and fruits stolen every time. 1/1 Halfling Peasant, X generic, and 1 green and 1 white. When it enters battlefield, you create X 1/1 white halfling creature tokens and X food tokens. Holy moly, this is insane. Now the thing is, since that, I will say this deck could go the kind of route similar to the Ragdos Sack deck. The problem is that it doesn't have red, so if it had red, you could just make that into a commander form and this deck would be broken. So I would love to see if there's a way in this color combination to go kind of that route. But either way, you know, you have the Witch's Cauldron, the Familiar, you have all that stuff in that color combination. I wonder if they're in here. Anyway, Mary, Warden of Isengard. This is nice. The official Warden. Okay, he's a 1/4 Halfling Advisor for 1 generic, 1 green, 1 white. It partners with Piton, Warden of Isengard, and when 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with Halfling, and this ability triggers only once each turn. Now, this is the annoying part. This ability triggers only once each turn is very limiting, because otherwise you could go off. So, of course, this will make it broken, but at the same time, you know, it will allow you to go off much better. I believe this would be better if that part of the card wasn't there. Still, it's not bad. You create a 1/1 soldier token. It might not be the best interaction if you're not interested about soldier tokens and you're just interested about food tokens. Now we have Pippin, Warden of Isengard, which is a 2/2 halfling advisor for 1 black, 1 green. Partners with Mary. Tap 1 generic and 1 and him to create a food token, and then tap to sacrifice 4 foods. Other creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain haste until the end of turn. Wow, activate only as a sorcery. I like this in a deck. I like it a lot. Now there's a potential to keep both in a deck because of the fact that they partner. So when you play one, you can get the other. So that's really good. Alternatively, I would say that this is the least one, unless you want to play the deck as a token deck overall, because it only allows you to just add 1 lifelinker soldier and you can do more. Oh, Treebeard, finally! I was wondering when we get to see Treebeard, because I don't think he's at all in the ends in the main set, so I was really hoping to see him. Treebeard, the Gracious Host. He's a 0/5 tree folk, or 2 generic, 1 green, 1 white, has trample and ward 2, and when it enters the battlefield, you create 2 food tokens. Whenever you gain life, you put that many +1/+1 counters on target halfling or tree folk. Wow, that's broken. That's really, really good. Wow. Oh, Hithlane Robe. Artifact for 2 generic. It cannot be sacrificed. 1 generic and tap. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, taps and shuffle. Wow, okay. Then the player to your right gains control of the rope. Oh, okay, alright. That's annoying. Then tap 2 to tap, draw a card. The player to your right gains control. Very good, strong thing. I wouldn't play it though because I don't like giving my opponents that much advantage, but it's very strong and fun for politics and kind of like fun little interactions at the table with your friends, I guess. So keep it in if you want to see some fun stuff. Otherwise, I would, if you're just going for strength, I would remove it. Call for Unity. 3 generic and 2 white. Enchantment has Revolt, and at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on this. So if a permanent, that's not bad. So if you sacrifice 3 tokens, it's still only 1 counter. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on him. So this is very, very good Anthem. Very, very good. I would definitely play it because, yeah, I mean, you're sacking each turn something, so that's definitely amazing. Dawn of Hope. So here is an enchantment that is costing 1 generic and 1 white. For 3 generic and 1 white, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. And whenever you gain life, you may pay 2 generic. If you do, draw card. So that's not bad. Yeah, you create the soldiers again. So again, if you're on the side of Mary, absolutely, you can definitely keep this. It would be good in a general token deck, I guess. But the main idea is the first part, you can pay 2 to draw a card whenever you gain life, which could be good because if, for example, you have Sam in, you basically pay 3 to gain 3 life and draw a card. So that's really, really good. So I like this. I like that. Ooh, Dusk and Dawn. This is a split card for 2 generic and 2 white, and destroy. It's a sorcery that destroys all creatures with power 3 or greater. That's really, really good. And look at that beautiful art. That's really good. It really helps you destroy most of the board and keep your enemies at bay while your creatures can get spared, hopefully. And then for Dawn, you have 3 generic and 2 white aftermath spell, so you have to cast it from the graveyard and then exile it. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. That's really, really nice. Love it. Love the interaction. Yeah, definitely. It's a good board wipe to be added here, of course. Fell the Mighty. Fell the Mighty is a sorcery for 4 generic and 1 white. Destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. That's another good wipe. Fumigate to 3 generic and 2 white. Destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Really good. Wow, a lot of nice removal. The other decks didn't have that many good removals. Oh, Mentor of the Meek. That's another normal one. This is a new art, but that's a staple, Mentor of the Meek, for token generation in general. 2/2 human soldier for 2 generic and 1 white. Another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under control. You may pay 1 generic, and if you do, draw a card. So that's really, really good in this kind of deck. And then now I can see kind of why Mary is part and why those kind of generation, like the enchantment, as part of this. With this idea, yes, if it allows me to draw extra cards, absolutely. Oh, Sanguine Bond, enchantment. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Haha, this is extremely good in this deck. Absolutely, really do love it. It's a good reprint. So it's 3 generic and 2 black. Definitely in this kind of deck. Ooh, this is, yeah, insane. Whoa, okay, out of nowhere, Toxic Deluge. That's really random. Toxic Deluge. I mean, this is a classic for black. 2 generic, 1 black. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you pay X life. All creatures get -X/-X until the end of turn. Now, I understand that it's really good because you will have greater life. And so far, this deck has some insane removal, board removal, I should say. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I like to play it most of my black decks, so why not? I would love that one. So yeah, Birds of Paradise. Okay, this makes a comeback. I love the art of this one. I wish it was full because it's gorgeous. And 0/1 flyer that you tap to add 1 mana of any color and only costs 1 green. Classic. That's a beautiful, beautiful card. I don't mind this one, actually. It's good because you have 3 colors, and I would keep that one. Gilded Goose. I love the art. Oh, the art is so cool. Gilded Goose. I mean, this is a classic, and I was hoping it would be in this deck. A 0/2 bird for 1 green, and whenever it enters the battlefield, you create a food token, and you tap 1 generic, 1 green. Tap this to create a food token, then you can tap it, sacrifice a food, and add 1 mana of any color. And this is really, really good. Woodfall Primus. Okay, this is interesting. So this is a 5 generic and 3 green. So this is the biggest creature we've seen so far, and biggest cost that we've seen so far. I think the highest so far has been 5. We don't count the X's. So okay. He looks really pissed off, by the way. So it's a Trampler 6/6 3-folk shaman for 8, and then when it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-creature permanent, and it has persist. And when it dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, your turn on the battlefield under the stone's control as a 5/5 basically. This I don't know. There are better way to target destroy. Well, yeah, there you go. There are much better permanent removals. Yes, that's a creature, but this one is my favorite one. Anguished Unmaking, and they've reprinted it. And look at that. This is the 1 ring getting destroyed in Mount Doom. That is beautiful. Beautiful art, beautiful colors. That is just amazing. And this is a beautiful rendition of Anguished Unmaking. That's a 1 generic, 1 white, 1 black. Exile target non-land permanent, you lose 3 life, which is not a problem in this kind of deck. That's also, if I'm not mistaken, our first instant. Go figure. Ooh, Chromatic Lantern as well. Wow. Lands you control have tap to add 1 mana of any color. It is a 3 generic artifact, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Beautiful, beautiful card. I really love this one. Trading Post. It's an artifact, 4 generic. 1 generic can tap it, discard a card, you gain 4 life. 1 generic can tap it, you pay 1 life, you create a 0/1 white goat creature token. Okay. You pay 1 generic and tap it, sacrifice a creature, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Then 1 generic and tap it, sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. Very, very good. The draw card effect is really, really nice. You can always gain some extra life, but I don't really like the idea of discarding a card. So I really like this one. Definitely. Maybe the creature token creation is not bad. And you can always sacrifice one of the goats to return an artifact. For example, I don't know, and the pan has gone for some reason, you can just bring it back. I like it. It's not bad. It's not great. There are better artifacts, but it's not bad, and it synergizes as well. Well of Lost Dreams. Okay, so this is a 4 generic artifact. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you've gained. And if you do, you draw X cards. So this allows you to continuously gain life and draw cards. That's not bad. Oh, Brushland. Okay, that's nice. Good reprint. I really love, well, of course, Canopy Vista as well. The amount of cards that they've actually reprinted for this set, I really love it. Especially the lands. Exotic Orchard, Fortified Village, Isolated Chapel, of course, Murmuring Bosque. The Land Forest, tap to add 1 green, and as it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a 3/4 card from your hand. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped, and you tap to add 1 black or 1 white, and it deals 1 damage to you. Very nice, actually. It really works well in this kind of deck. the Snarl, Necroblossom, Scattered Groves, nice. The Shine Shadow, Sandpetal Grove, of course, and the Woodland Cemetery, of course. Yes, I mean that's really good. Like it's insane value in the reprint of these. Oh, it goes to the north. Okay, so this is a Plane Cycler, and it enters the battlefield. You give +1/+0 to all the creatures you control in the first strike until the end of the turn. And this would be one of those cards that I wouldn't keep here. It's good for Plane Cycling, but that's about it. Landreval, Horizon Witness. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, this gives flying to 1 target creature. And you can attack with this and another creature, and that creature gets flying. Not that great. Rosy Cotton I really like in this deck. South Lane, it's a 1/1 halfling piston for 2 generic and 1 white. When it enters the battlefield, you create a food token, and whenever you create a token, which is hopefully every turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control other than Rosy. So basically, if you can create a food token even during combat, you can buff up your creatures really well. So I really like this one. Shire Sheriff is a 2/2 halfling, vigilance for 1 generic and 1 white. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice a token, and you exile a creature an opponent controls until this card leaves the battlefield. Really like this one. Okay, this is a great addition. Mirkwood Bats really does make sense here because you sacrifice or create a token. Each player loses 1 life. So you get a lot of triggers off of this, really good. Generous End, of course. This is a decent for a cycler in limited, and a decent top end card in limited. And enters the battlefield, you create a food token. Could be okay as a top end, but I would say there are better top ends. It's good for the forest cycling, just like the Plane Cycling for the Path to Exile, of course. This deck has a lot of great removal, targeted and overall board removal. So this one has Path to Exile, which is a classic. Source to Plowshares, another great classic. Wow, this is really good. Revive the Shire, return target permanent for a card from your graveyard to your hand, and you create a food token. Very, very good. Just in case somebody has destroyed something that you really want, you get it back. I really like it. And it also creates your food token, which you can then use to draw cards or get out of their effect. Butterbur, Breeding Keeper. So there's a human peasant. There's a 3/3 for 2 generic and 1 green and 1 white. At the beginning of your end step, don't control food, you create a food token. So this, I don't know. It's okay. It's definitely good if you don't control any food tokens. It continuously gets you free food tokens, but at the same time, I would hope that you do get food tokens, because after the 1, you don't get more on this one, and it's not a halfling. But yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It's okay, I would say. But if you're looking to cut something, maybe cut this one and put some better cards that Witch's Oven and all that. Crypt Incursion, 2 generic and 1 black instant. Exile all creature cards from the target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card exiled this way. Very nice way to gain life. Very nice way. And also to, well, mess up somebody who's gonna fetch something from the graveyard. Now, necessarily, you don't want to play it all the time, but for most parts, it would be good. Like, you wipe the board and you get a ton of life. So I like it. I like it in this deck. Go for the Throat, instant. Destroy target non-artifact creature. It costs 1 generic and 1 black. I like it. As I said, very good targeted removal as well. Night's Whisper. Sorcery for 1 generic and 1 black. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. So that's not bad. You can use definitely life as a resource in this deck. Cultivate, of course. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put 1 into battlefield tapped and 1 in your hand. So decent for ramp. Essence Warden, which is an Elf Shaman. 1/1 for 1 green. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. So that's not bad. I would say that is something that you can remove. Farseek, that is a good one for ramping. It's 1 generic, 1 green. You search your library for plains, island, swamp, or mountain. Put it onto battlefield tapped and shuffle. So that's really good if you need the ramp effect. Great Oak Guardian is a top ender, 4/5 flash reach, 5 generic and 1 green. And when it enters the battlefield, creatures stagger player controls get +2/+2 until the end of turn and untap them. So it's really, really nice. You can just kind of go wide with this. I would say it's not synergistic with the food, but it's overall okay. Harmonize, draw 3 cards, and it's just for 4 as a sorcery, not bad. Orchard Strider, which is a 6/4 3/4 that costs 6. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 food tokens, and you can basic land cycle it. Yeah, there are better token generators. Kind of iffy. If you are running out of food tokens generators, yeah, keep it in, otherwise no. Oh, Prosperous Innkeeper, of course. It's a 1 generic and 1 green halfling citizen. It is a 1/1, and when it enters the battlefield, you create a treasure token, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get 1 life. This is a classic. I will keep it in. because it's a decent one in the food deck. Sure, Tireless Provisioner, that's nice. Landfall, 3/2 Elf Scout with 2 generic and 1 green, and she is gorgeous. Mamacita. Reminds me of my missus. Anyway, Landfall, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you create a food token or a treasure token. Wow, that's really, really good. Absolutely keep. Mortify, destroy target creature or enchantment. Absolutely great. Savvy Hunter, Human Warrior, 3/3, 1 generic, 1 black, 1 green. Whenever it attacks or blocks, you create a food token, sacrifice 2 foods to draw a card. Amazing. Arcane Signet, of course. Command Sphere, and ooh, you have a Pristine Talisman. Wow, you're getting a life. That's something I would remove though. You're already getting so much life. You don't really need it. They're better. Like if you have any of the mocks and maybe some of the talismans, sigils, I would play over that. And do remember, you're not really playing a lot of huge cards. So ramp is okay, but not necessary. 100% Soul Ring with a new beautiful art. Access Tunnel that taps for 1 generic or 3 and tap it. Target creature power 3 or less cannot be blocked this turn. So that is a lot of your cards actually. So that's really good. Ash Baron, Command Tower, the Evolving Wilds, ever present. Ooh, Ghost Quarter. We've not seen this one before in the new art anyway. So you tap to add 1 generic, sacrifice it to destroy target land, its control, and may search the library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. So it's not bad, but it's kind of like a Field of Ruin. Grapple Refuge, okay, not bad. Passive Ancestry, Rogue Passage, ever present. Sunstep Citadel, I love the fact that it's Hobbit's home. Scour Barrens, of course, and then we get the Plains, which is 4 swamps, and 8 forests. Okie doke, so what do we think of the deck? This has got to be by far the funnest for me, but in general I think it's also the funnest overall deck because it is so highly synergistic. Like all your cards want to do is create tokens and generate life, right? And maybe for the exception of, let's say, like realistically 1 2 3, yeah, so except for 7 creatures out of the whole deck, most of them help you just do just that. That's really great, and the rest just helps you go for something like, you know, yeah, hey, you want to get more food tokens, you want to get more life, you want to draw more cards. It's all synergistic with that, all of that, and the fact that you can partner them up is even better. It's very flavorful. I don't know, I think this deck is so far the best one that we've reviewed. We've reviewed the Elven deck and we've also reviewed the Host of Mordor deck. So out of these 3 so far, this is the funnest and the most well built around. On top of that, the enchantments, they are not useless and they actually help you do and achieve what you want. And the removal, you have a lot of board wipes, and some of them just help you because of course it's with specific powers, and you're not all your creatures are going to be super strong, and then you can get them back if they do die, and you can put them back in your hand with one of the removals, which is the Dawn and Dusk. And then yeah, then you have a lot of target like this, like maybe except for the crypt, all of these are targeted removals. That's insane. That is insane. I've not seen something this well built in a while, so I'm really happy for it. I would say this equals the nice deck if I'm trying to contain the fact that this is a Lord of the Rings deck and that it's so fun. So I would definitely give it a 7.5. Yeah, because of how well it's built. I would say that for the fun factor and the nerd factor, that's a different story. But fun factor, I would definitely even just give it an 8. But yeah, 7.5 definitely. This is a good deck. I'm pushing myself not to give it an 8 just because it wouldn't be fair for the other deck. Like for example, I tried to give a fair review of the Elven deck, the Elven Council deck, because I don't really like the idea of politics in the game. So voting is not my kind of thing when you have to give so much advantage to and power to your opponents. But yeah, so I think this is definitely 7.5, and I'm really excited to go on and open the Riders of Rohan deck afterwards because I wonder how good that one is. So anyway, that's it from us. Definitely I had to choose one deck out of all the ones that I've opened. It will be this one, and I would try and make it great. So be sure to look forward to our guide on how to upgrade it. It's going to be really tough because there are a lot of cards already in here that are really good, and I don't know how I can sacrifice some of them to put some of the more, you know, standard removals and standard stronger cards that you could put in here. So that's going to be a tough one, but please look forward to that. Make sure to like and subscribe, and then you can check out all of our other videos because we have quite a few for you guys. and I hope you have enjoyed this one. Until the next time, we hope you have a good day. Be good, be kind. Thank you very much. Bye.